Today we're going to take a ride out to a great neighborhood here in St. Petersburg, Florida called Woodlawn. I would say it's one of the quaintest, most charming small neighborhoods in all of St. Pete. And there are two houses that were recently renovated top to bottom there. One's listed at around $1 million, one's listed at around $1.5 million. We're going to go check them out, see if they're worth it. Hey guys, welcome to the channel. My name is Steve Reynolds. If you're thinking about moving to St. Petersburg, Florida and want to learn what it's like to live here, this is the channel for you. I'm a realtor here in downtown St. Petersburg, Florida. I help people buy, sell, and invest in real estate all over Pinellas County. Shoot me an email, give me a call, send me a text if you have any questions about St. Petersburg, Florida real estate. Now, let's take a ride out to Woodlawn. Now, Woodlawn was built mostly in the 1920s, and you're going to see a lot of these Dutch colonial style houses. You know, some of the bungalows and recent new construction where smaller homes were snapped up by developers and torn down, replaced with these, 2,300 to 3,300 square foot houses that typically go for around $1 million to $1.5 million. The neighborhood itself is about 2 miles from downtown, and the east-west borders are MLK and 16th. And then the north-south border is between 22nd and 30th. Now, remember that St. Pete is set up with a grid, so they're all mostly numbered streets. So the center of downtown begins at Central, and then obviously we go to First Avenue North as we head north. So what I'm saying here is that Woodlawn is at its furthest point just 30 blocks from the center of downtown. And also this would be driving on surface streets without even having to get on the interstate, which you can do. You have close access to the interstate, which will get you downtown as well. But you can take surface streets, and in 10 minutes or so, you're downtown. I never go on the interstate on my motorcycle, and I have no problem getting around anywhere really in St. Pete, and it's literally a 10-minute drive to Woodlawn. So we're talking easy access to Beach Drive, which is packed with restaurants, the pier, museums, Central Ave with a bunch of bars, coffee shops, some retail shopping there. And as far as grocery shopping goes, literally within a mile of the neighborhood of Woodlawn, you have a Trader Joe's, a Fresh Market, a Whole Foods, and 2 public supermarkets, literally one right across the street from the other. All right, so we're coming up to the house here on the right. You'll see when it opens up here, it is right there, the one with the blue door. So I'm going to go around the block and park on the side street so that we can get a better angle at it. And I really wanted to see this one because it is a complete and total renovation. I've driven by this house a million times, and you could tell it had great bones, but and really interesting Mediterranean architecture style, but it was really tired and dated. I mean, old windows, in need of a paint job. It just was very drab. So this is 1101 22nd Avenue North. It's a 4-bedroom, 3-bath, 2,178 square foot house, currently listed at $925,000. Now, it did go on the market at $1 million and has had a $75,000 price drop. And what's interesting is that this house is priced at $425 per square foot. The neighborhood average for Woodlawn is $443 a square foot. So what is that, like 5% below the neighborhood average for a perfectly newly renovated house? Question is why? Well, it's clear to me, but let's come back to that in just a minute. So this is really a beautiful example of a Mediterranean style house built in 1925. The listing shows that it has a new roof, the original floors have been refinished, impact windows, and we'll come back to that in just a minute. There's a new AC, new fixtures and vanities in the bathrooms. Obviously the kitchen has been completely updated. It does note that the electrical and plumbing were updated, but there's no details on what they did. I prefer to see that they provide, it's kind of, it might be dull reading, but it's nice to know whether or not it's been a full replumb, including a new sewer line. This house was built in 1925. Who knows if the same old cast iron Sewer line is there. Hopefully that was replaced. The realtor might have left some notes elsewhere on that. And then we see a new well pump for the irrigation system. And looking at a front picture of the house, you can see that it's new sod because you can still see the squares where it hasn't quite grown together yet. And also I see in the listing here, there's something else that I really love when owners and sellers do, and they've made 2 inspection reports available. The 4-point and the wind mitigation. Still obviously if you put an offer on a house like this, you're going to do your own full inspection and your own 4-point and wind mitigation as well. But when an owner offers up a 4-point, which covers the air conditioning, plumbing, electrical, and roof, the main systems of the house, what they're typically saying is, I'm confident you can get insurance. All the systems are in good working order and or new. Because any unsatisfactory check mark on any of those 4 systems could mean no homeowner's insurance until that's fixed. So that's great. It shows confidence that the systems are in good working order, which we would expect because it's new roof, new AC. We don't know the extent to the plumbing or electrical, if there was a new panel or anything put on. And then just an FYI, the wind mitigation inspection looks at how the roof is attached to the house as well as its shape or geometry. Basically, how well the house will handle high winds. And this will definitely help with an insurance discount. So scrolling through the photos, what are we looking at here? We're seeing a nice Mediterranean color palette of the off-white with the blue, really bright blue front door. And inside we're seeing more of what you would see typically in newer construction or new remodels today. A decent sized living room. The kitchen has solid surface, looks like granite countertops and the stainless appliances, white custom cabinets, but gives it a very clean lined look, which is really nice. Nice sized kitchen. That dining area looks like it's staged with a table for 6, so plenty of room there. This doesn't look like a quick flip from an investor. This looks like somebody took their time, may have had a designer in. Obviously this wasn't a 3 or 4 week flip where they just polish everything up and slap some new cabinets in. This was a top to bottom renovation, and it looks on the outside like it's really well done. And then the backyard has a kind of a courtyard feel. There's a wall on one side, which is the street side, and then in between the houses there's a PVC fence on the other. So the backyard is totally enclosed for some privacy. Now the house has been on the market for 52 days, and it just had its second price drop. The original list was $1 million. So the question is, why is this great house, essentially brand new, still in the market? And my guess is that, let me see if I can turn the camera around real quick. That's why, right there. If you just keep an eye on the street here, you'll see essentially a steady flow of traffic. It's not a highway, but it is a 4-lane road, and 22nd Avenue runs east to west. So if you went up and you took a left here, you'd get out to 4th Street, and then a few blocks down you take a right and you're into downtown. But if you go that way, if you head that way, then the entrance and exit to 275 is right there. So lots of people coming in from other parts of town or coming over the bridge from Tampa may get off on 22nd. There's also a Lowe's and a Home Depot, about a mile from here, right on 22nd. So, literally everybody that lives in this neighborhood, Old Northeast, anywhere over on this side of town, is heading down 22nd Ave to make their weekend run to Home Depot or Lowe's. So, the impact windows will definitely cut down on any street noise. And the way that the house is set up, with the garage in the back and the entrance in the back, the garage entrance in the back, you're not going to have to fight traffic to leave the house. There's nothing worse than having to pull out of your own driveway into, oncoming traffic. So that's nice. But my guess is that, for some not insignificant number of buyers, this would be a concern. And I think that the price reflects this, to be honest with you. For this to be price per square foot lower than the average for the neighborhood, tells me that, perhaps the seller and the owner here are, fully aware. I'd say it's a strike against it, but it is a feature that a smaller pool of buyers is going to go for. So, at that price, it seems to be in line, but we'll see. you know, obviously, you know, when you're looking at houses, if you're thinking about moving to, you know, a new city like St. Petersburg, Florida, or really anywhere, and you don't know the neighborhood, I mean, I'm sure most people are doing this. Check the street view before you make an appointment to go see the house, because obviously if a busy street was a deal breaker for you, you could have seen that on the street view and saved your time and not come out to see it to begin with. So now let's take a ride a few streets over to see this other house. You know, it's marginally bigger and it's a total renovation as well, but it's priced nearly $500,000 more. So let's take a ride over there and see what that one looks like. You can start to get a feel for some of the great architecture in here. Even the smaller houses, the little cottage style houses, are just really well kept. Yards are in good shape. You know, some real pride of ownership here, which is always nice. And I think our second house is right up here. And I'm going to turn this around. There's a new construction house right here, which you don't see too many of in here. And our house is right there on the right, but before we go that way, I'm going to go left here because this is Woodlawn Circle, sort of the center point of this neighborhood, and I want you to get a feel for just how many of these sort of Dutch colonial style houses there are. I mean, there's just one after another. I don't see any neighborhood in St. Pete, you're not going to see this many. So I'm assuming that back in the 20s, there was a single builder that kind of started putting this neighborhood together. Now, it was like 10 or 12 in a row before you got to more of the mid-century sort of look, which is what we're seeing over here on the right. Still beautiful houses, but a little bit different architecture. So let me just go back down Woodlawn here. So if we can see to the right, so now we're coming down the other side of Woodlawn. There's like a little green space in between. You know, these are all just beautiful two-story houses. Some of them, you know, have been updated with newer stuff, but there's a nice example of a colonial right there. Somebody's getting a new driveway, if you can hear that noise. All right, so let me spin this camera around here for a second. So there's that new construction. And then there's our house right there, 2410 Woodlawn Circle. So I'm just going to go around this little, this is not a park, it's just kind of an open green space here. So just let's whip around here and then we'll get a better look at that house. I mean, it's just gorgeous in here. I mean, zero traffic, which is nice. There it is right there. So here we are. This is an interesting house. 2410 Woodlawn Circle. It's a 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath, 2,242 square foot house. Just a little bit bigger than the house that we just saw on 22nd Ave. But if we look at the price per square foot on this one, it's $647 compared to $425. That's a 220. That's 50, my math is right, a 50% premium over the average price per square foot in this neighborhood. Now, this house has been completely renovated top to bottom. I was able to find an old picture, and you know, the house was dated, so this looks like a complete and total renovation. But the closest comparative sale closed just a couple weeks ago on this street, similar style and size, and sold for $960. And it's at 2360 Woodlawn. But I do want to note that that house was not a brand new renovation. So from the picture it looks nice, and it looks like that other house had new AC. The roof was 10 years old, which means it has plenty of life left in it. But you always have to adjust for condition and features when comparing two houses to give you a better idea. So that said, this house came on the market November 22nd at 1.55 million. We've had a single price drop of 100,000. And scrolling through the pictures, we can see on the exterior that they've added impact windows and doors. That's a metal roof there. It's hard to tell from the angle that we have. You know, beautiful big kitchen with custom cabinets. I mean, that living area is huge. A separate laundry. Looks like a large primary suite with a clawfoot tub. I don't know, personally, if I were listing this house, I'd put some shades on that window. I mean, I know it sounds obvious that if you bought the house, you'd do it. But, you know, I've spent enough time with, you know, home buyers, and myself included, that, you know, as soon as you get distracted with something, you're taking your focus off whether or not you could live there. And I can only imagine that everybody that walks in that bathroom is going to think about standing up in that tub one day and locking eyes with the neighbor in that second-story window of the house next door, when they really should be just admiring the tile work. Not a big deal, but I put some shades up there like yesterday. Big, beautiful primary bathroom though. Looks like nice closet space, nice backyard with a beautiful 2-car garage. And they note that the garage is insulated and has a separate AC, a split unit. So that's really nice. So, I mean, this is a beautiful house, really, and a perfect, or I'd say a near perfect example of the sort of Dutch colonial, I think revival style is how they're describing it, in Greater Woodlawn. But at 1.45 million, is it overpriced? I don't know. Drop a comment. Let me know what you think. Would you pay 1.45 for this one? Would you pay under $1 million for the house that we just saw on a busy street that's, you know, nearly $500,000 less? Are both of them overpriced? Drop a comment. Let me know what you think of these houses. So let's take a little ride around the neighborhood just to get a little bit better feel. I want to see if there's any more. Let me spin around here. I don't see, I mean, I see right up there's a guy in a little front loader. I think he's just putting in a driveway though. So, well, let's just drive by to see what they're doing over there, because I'm not seeing a ton of renovation here, to be honest with you. And I always think of that's a good thing in a lot of ways, because, you know, that means the neighborhood is mature and stable. And also developers tend to buy smaller houses and tear them down to put up bigger houses, as opposed to what we see here, which is mostly larger houses. So yeah, that's like a cedar shake siding on that house. It looks like they're just doing a driveway. Oh, and they're doing some siding and stuff there. So there's a little bit of a renovation work going on there. So, you know, as you can see from the houses, they are really, really nice. This is a beautiful neighborhood. These great oak canopies in the streets. So that concludes our little tour of the Greater Woodlawn neighborhood. Beautiful, if you ask me. I don't know about the price on that second house at 1.45. Time will tell. They've had one price drop. We'll see if there's another one. Can't argue with the quality, at least from what I could tell. I mean, it's a beautiful, beautiful house. But drop a comment. Let me know what you thought of either of those two houses. And as always, I am a realtor here in St. Petersburg, Florida. So if you are thinking about moving to St. Pete or the surrounding areas, Clearwater, Tarpon Springs, out to the St. Pete beaches, anywhere in Pinellas County, really, shoot me a text or an email, give me a call. I'd love to help you out. Also, hit the subscribe button and make a comment. Let me know if there's an area you'd like me to cover in a future video. And with that, I will see you next time.